Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel. And thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about a court case that's going on in France where people smugglers, and apparently one of the biggest, if not the biggest, people smuggling gang operating from the French coast to Britain, to England, smuggling illegals from the third world. They're supposed to be the biggest players in this game, and a number of them have been arrested, and they're on trial in France. And this is the coverage of the court case. Now, this is quite an important court case, I think, in as much as what facts will it reveal? What can we learn about the people smuggling gangs? Why are they seemingly able to operate with impunity? Why can they make such huge profits? Apparently there's more money in it than drugs, people smuggling. So let's go through the article. Now, I saw one article in an English media outlet, and so I went to find the French articles, and then had to do I can't speak French other than junior high school level, but and that was from a long time ago. So I had to do a translation, which is, well, not perfect. You get the gist of it, and the facts tend to still hold up even after the translation. But just going through it now, supposedly the people smugglers are making, give or take, $3,000 per person. Now, I'm not sure exactly what they're providing, like how much is included. I mean, I don't know. Do the people smugglers have a catalogue or something? But people smugglers get a boat with a motor in it, like an inflatable boat, and they put a motor on it and fill it with petrol and fuel, and then it's enough to get to the coast of England. So now, if these people run out of fuel or the weather gets bad, they've got mobile phones where they can call the British lifeguards, who will then come and collect them and bring them to Britain. So the British government is about as 100 million% complicit in assisting the people smugglers. I don't know why the people smugglers don't share their profits with the British Border Force and the British government, because it looks like it's a joint effort here. Nonetheless, let's come back to the people smugglers now. It's about $3,000 a head, or sometimes more, depending on whose numbers you look at, and all they're supplying is the boats. So they'll apparently, the people smugglers watch out for whether the French police are anywhere nearby, and then they'll inflate the boat, bring it to the water. The illegals get on, and off they go. So that's it. That's all they do. So maybe they do a weather check or something. I don't know. But it seems like a lot of money for just a boat with a motor and some fuel in it. I don't know. So nonetheless, that's what it is. And this is a hugely lucrative. Now there are hundreds of thousands of illegals hanging around the French coast. For some reason, the French government is powerless to evict them. I don't know. I don't know why they're there. But anyway, they're there. These people can't stay there unless an army of NGOs feed them and give them clothes and give them accommodation and food and everything supplied by the NGOs. Otherwise, these illegals couldn't stay there. I don't think the French give them that much. French government give these illegals that much support. So, but they're allowed to camp out on tents, and what they're allowed to stay on French territory and so on. Why don't the French government evict them? So the idea that the French are cracking down on people smuggling gangs and they're getting tough and so on, that's nonsense as well. The French are as much complicit in this as anyone else, and the people smugglers are taking advantage of the failures of the France and England in administering their own borders and their own territory. But coming back to the court case and the interviews that the French government and the prosecutors and the various French officials, the arguments they're putting forward. They say that it's just that the people smugglers, according to certainly what's being said, and I'll paraphrase it, the people smugglers are geniuses. They're beyond geniuses. They're the cleverest people in the universe ever. And no matter how hard we try, this is the French government, no matter how much resources we put to the law enforcement authority, no matter what we do, these people are always one step ahead. They're fucking brilliant. They're brilliant people, genius upon genius. So, okay, all right, then let's park that over in the side there. These people are insane level geniuses, the people smugglers and the gangs. So let's sort of read on here. They're all illiterate peasants from the third world. Oh, stop. Hold. They're geniuses, aren't they? So wait a minute, let's put this together then. They're the most genius of genius people, way too genius for the French authorities to have any chance of stopping it or even slowing it down at their own admission. So they're incredible geniuses, that always one step ahead, 2 steps ahead of the French authorities, but are also illiterate peasants from the third world. Okay, I'm having trouble crunching that number, but anyway, let's go on here. There's the people that are wanting to, get smuggled to England. They're desperate people. They're fleeing war and they're fleeing persecution, and they've been place where they come from. They watch millions upon billions dying in front of their eyes, ripped to pieces by Hitler while he was waving a swastika. These people are in desperate need. Desperate. They've got nothing. They haven't even got 1 penny in their pockets. Okay, all right then. I'll accept that. Let's park that over to this side then. Let's read a little bit further on down. But they pay people smugglers $3,000 or even $4,000 to be smuggled to England. Well, wait a minute, stop. Let's just go back here. They're penniless, fleeing, desperate people, desperate, oppressed, persecuted people, penniless, with nothing. But they can afford $3,000 to $4,000. Now, the countries these people come from, the annual wage is about $2,000. So suddenly they can find 2 years worth of pay. They're not working, but they can find 2 years of pay, 2 years of income to pay people smugglers when they're penniless and they've got nothing. So, wow, this is crazy. I mean, how can you put this in the same article? So where does that money come from? It's not mentioned. Now, again, these court cases would be a great opportunity to find out this. Well, where does the money come from? Who pays? Who is funding this? Who is providing these clothes? Who is providing these funds? Yeah, it would be a great opportunity to really lay bare the entire people smuggling operation. Who's paying for what? Which NGOs are directly facilitating illegality on a grand scale? It would be an opportunity to expose all of that and lay it out for the public to see. But they want to have it both ways. The media coverage clearly is very sympathetic to the illegals, and to the point where they don't even think it's illegal. These are just people escaping. They just want a better life. They're escaping, war and so on. Well, wait a minute, stop. All these people are supposed to be escaping war, but the average time that they've been in France is 14 months, apparently. I don't know how true that is. So they've been in France illegally for 14 months, being fully supported, funded and fed and clothed and everything else by the NGOs that, as far as I'm concerned, are engaging in illegal behaviour. They're not working during this time, but somehow they can find $3,000 to $4,000 to pay people smugglers. I mean, like, excuse me, is that even possible? Now, if they are escaping such persecution, and if they are, the countries that they come from, none of those countries are certainly the list that I've seen of the. None of them are in a state of war or famine or something like that. So I don't buy that. Similarly, even if they were, there are large refugee camps, United Nations run refugee camps that are nearby, in a safe area. policed by United Nations forces and so on, and they can stay there and get fed and so that there's nothing. So they're not in danger. They've escaped. So they've even got to the refugee camp. At that point, they're no longer in danger, and they're no longer fleeing for their lives. And then they've crossed through several countries to get to France in the hope of getting to England. So in none of those other countries were they persecuted. So they've got to France and they're staying there illegally. Many are under orders, deportation orders, but somehow the French authorities just can't seem to enforce their own deportation orders. I don't know how that works, but anyway, and then so France isn't at war, so they're not fleeing a war-torn country there. So that to me is another act of illegality, as far as I can tell. But they don't cover it that way. What the media coverage is that these people smuggler gangs, it's their fault. It's not the people's fault for crossing illegally in numerous countries, for trying to freeload their way to the rich West. Not their fault. I mean, hey, what's wrong with that? And I do understand the pull factors, by the way. If you're told in a refugee camp, you get to England, they'll give you a free house and free this and free that. They'll put you up in a hotel. You get everything, and you don't have to pay a penny. And to them, they've arrived, as far as they're concerned, they've arrived in heaven, for goodness sakes. There is a heaven on earth, and it's called Britain. So you can understand the pull factors there, but that's not how the media are covering this. Their depiction is that it's all the fault of the people smugglers. But at the same time, they say the people smugglers are so devilishly clever that it's just too hard to catch them. It's too difficult. And if we do catch them, there are vast networks of people smugglers. So if we shut down one operation, the other operation takes up the slack, and so on. Now, this is rather disingenuous. One of the claims was that the people smugglers will operate from Portugal if they close down the French coast. Now, it's a 20-mile, a 28-kilometre trip across the English Channel from France to England, and that's quite a narrow stretch of water. Now, if you move, the further you move the people smuggler gangs away from that prime embarkation point, being so close to England, if you move at 30, if you move the embarkation 30, 40, 50 miles, either north or south, and then the distance to the English coast becomes much longer. Instead of 20 miles, you can be looking at 50, 60 miles. Further you move them 100 miles. So somehow only the embarkation points that are closest to England, so the easiest trip, the easiest journey to make, only those are the ones that somehow the French can't seem to close down. What, are you kidding me? I mean, that's bullshit. But that's sort of suggested that we just can't do it. They're devilishly clever. They're devilishly clever. Geniuses, and we just can't stop them. We try. All the resources of the French state are trying, and we just can't do it for these devilishly clever people. Now, again, if it was a 70 or a 100-mile journey to make it to England, then the casualties would be enormous. They just wouldn't make it, and they wouldn't attempt it. And I doubt you could carry enough fuel. Oh, I mean, you could, but some of those motors aren't that very big on those inflatable rafts, and there's a lot of people on them, so the casualties would be huge. And so I don't think they'd be attempting it. So it would have an incredible, huge reduction in the amount of people attempting to get to England. But somehow the French seem to be able, for example, they broke up some they claim they broke some smuggling ring in somewhere in Holland or Belgium, I think it was. Now, but that was launching sort of one boat a month or so, whereas the smuggling gangs directly opposite, around Calais and that's around there. They're operating, at least one boat a week, and given the multiple gangs there, it's effectively a boat, or if not multiple boats per day. Now, the supposed profit that these people are making is around $65,000 a boat. So it's about 20 people, give or take, per boat. And some boats are bigger, some a little bit smaller, but that seems to be, or at least that's what the article claims is the average. So they're making around $65,000 a boat, and one or two of those every day. I mean, more in the fine weather than in the stormy weather. So, but this is yielding allegedly approximately a $4 million US profit for the people smugglers. Now, it appears the numbers don't appear to be large. There's a gang of 15, and they're people like Albanian professional gangsters and from Somalia or Eritrea, that sort of. So we're not talking. Again, the sound of it and their background suggests or implies that they're professional gangsters, but and with such money around, which means that there must be competition. Like the gangsters must be killing each other in order to get a piece of the action, the same way that they do kill each other over a piece of the action on the drug trade. So, but somehow again, the French authorities seem powerless to stop it. And the French authorities that were being quoted or supposedly being quoted in the media articles are constantly referring to, again, how clever these people smugglers are. And they're always one step ahead of us. No matter what we do, we just can't stop them. Now, the French have had some success in stopping people smuggling operations in areas where they can't really people smuggle. So I don't believe that. I think that's disingenuous. The idea, we stopped the people smuggling operation in Alaska or in Antarctica. We stopped that. We were right on top of those guys there. But when it comes to, in Calais, directly opposite the English coast, an easy trip, somehow the French authorities are powerless to stop that. Now, they claim they're stopping quite a few boats, I don't believe it, but they claim they're stopping quite a few boats from getting in the water, but they say, we just don't have enough people on the ground. Well, hold on, you just were saying earlier in the article, no matter your resources are vast and you're throwing endless resources at it, then you're saying in the same article you don't have enough people to do the job. I don't know. So again, the media articles are racked with endless contradictions, which means they're nonsense. And also they're adding, other idea. Apparently, one of the I think it was an Albanian man got violent or angry or something in the court, and the judge hearing the case is a woman, and they spent more time in this article saying what a strong, powerful woman the judge was. What a strong woman, because she told seriously. I mean, this is what a strong woman she is. This French female judge. She told that Albanian gangster, the court will not accept violent behaviour from men. Men! I mean, the strength of this woman judge. Oh. And so the article spent as much time talking about what a strong woman the judge was, rather than, hey, can we get back to the matter at hand here? So it was a lot of childlike ideological sort of stuff injected into it, but they didn't come to grips with it. Why are the people there? How have these penniless third world people made the trip thousands of miles from wherever it was, Pakistan and Africa and Central Africa? How have they made this trip? Who's paid for it? Who's funded it? Who's fed them? Who's clothed them? Who's given them everything? Why are they allowed to illegally go through all these different countries? Why are they allowed to legally stay in France? How is it that the people smugglers are able to operate with impunity at the most optimum embarkation point from France to England, and somehow the French authorities are powerless? How is it that these people smugglers, who are supposedly also illiterate peasants, how are they able to be so clever that they can elude French authority? They're not. The French aren't even trying. So this is the sort of coverage and the sort of nonsense that we see. Now, I don't doubt a few flunkies from a supposed. No, I don't even know if this smuggling gang is the top of the tree in terms of smuggling operations. It's in the French interest to highlight, to try and make out these guys. These are the masterminds, the master international, global, intergalactic masterminds. And look how we're fighting them. And, so it's in their interest to try and gin it up as a huge victory against people smugglers. But I don't believe that. So it's all a load of nonsense. And again, the opportunity's been missed, I think, to go and chase the how it's all put together, the entire architecture of the international people smuggling operation. But the article doesn't go there, nor, as I can detect at least, does the prosecutors and the investigators, nor do they seem to want to know that. They just want a few flunkies to throw in prison to just do window dressing, that they're getting tough on people smugglers. But I think the opposite's the case. You've been Tassus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for listening.